Sins of the Father, Part 4. At one time, I was considered a man who didn't take care of his own. So, I pretty much speak as someone who's been there. I fathered children also and never got a chance to experience any of their childhoods. I loved my children, wanted to be in their lives. I loved them fully and wholeheartedly. I lost out on so many things. First walks, picking up my child when it fell, playing catch with my son, teaching my daughters how to beware of bad men and so-called predators, and so many other things. Then my daughter Amira was born, and I began examining what makes a child closer to the mother than the father. So I began to research this and found out the mother is the nurturer. Dad goes out to work and mom stays home, hands-on all day long. She feeds the infant, changes his wet diaper, plays with it, and holds the child in the cradle of her arms to sleep. Watching this, I began to experiment. I said to myself, what if I did all those things? So when my daughter was hungry, I jumped up and I yelled, "I'll feed her." When she was wet, I would rush out and change her diaper before her mother could. And when I had the free time, I would hold my child while watching television, and at night, I would lay her on my chest to sleep. Because I learned an infant bonds with the rhythmic heartbeats of the parent. So in essence, whoever is hands-on with the child, the nurturer, this is who the child bonds to. This is the mother's secret technique. I started applying this, and to this day, at 9 years old, I have the most incredible bond with my daughter Amira. And I was determined to fight this time to keep at least one of my children in my life. I weathered the storm, so to speak. Now my daughter's mother's vengeful heart, it eventually softened. She played all the games that all women do when it comes to the tug of war with children. But then she realized I wouldn't go silently into the night, and she saw pretty much the bond that I shared with my daughter, the time that I took with her, the love that I shown her. She gave in. Now, from time to time, I'm still tested by her. She says silly little things, or try to use that control factor. I'm the mama. All right? But I have the respect of a good father, and I'm acknowledged as a good caretaker and provider. Now, through all my hardships I've endured, which I've endured a lot in my battles to see and love my children, I've become a good husband and father to my new family, my soon-to-be 4 children, and my wife, who loves me and gives me all the love and respect I ever wanted. My Creator saw fit to bless me, to give me the chance to experience the growth of my children, to be in the same house, loving and nurturing them until they are adults, or until I pass away. As I stated, I'm very happily married with 3 children and 1 on the way. I've been married for 6 years. Never did I think I'd find anyone that would want to be with that long. And it's 6 years and counting. So pretty much I got another chance because of me being outside my children's lives. Is like being an asteroid belt, which is pieces of the same matter within the same orbit, but no longer attached. I've also conducted interviews with various neighborhood children as well as my own as to what they need from their fathers. And here are pretty much some of the answers. Most stated they needed from their dads was 1, quality time, to be there, to do little simple things with them, to not be involved with other people and friends or whatever, but just to spend time solely with their dad and their dad with them. 2, a role model, someone to look up to, to be proud of and say, this is my dad, this is what he's doing, this is what he's accomplished. And 3, for their fathers to tell them and show them that they love them. You can just take one moment out of a day, a second, to look at your child, son or daughter, and say, I love you. I do that on a regular. I never got the chance to do it before, but I do it now. Just I love you. That's all. And number 3 was physical contact. A lot of children, this was their main answer. They wanted physical contact because a lot of them have their dads who don't even as much as look their way. They acknowledge them as being there, as being their children. But what they stated most, that they wanted a hug, a smile, or even a pat on the shoulder every once in a while. Now, this shows that there's a need for dads to assume an active role in the home. If this is not possible, then one shouldn't assume the role of father. In other words, keep your dicks in your pants or take preventive measures. You see, I strongly believe that children are symbolic of the love shared between two people committed to loving one another. When the love fades, even the friendship involved, the unconditional love and well-being of that child still exists. Now, the love for a child does not end simply because a marriage or a relationship didn't work out, as I've stated before, probably many times, because it's a fact. Parenthood is a lifelong commitment filled with many ups and downs. Now, there's an old adage that I would like to bring up. It states, teach your children in the way you wish them to grow. If you wish them to be strong, responsible adults, then you teach them to be strong, responsible adults. If you want them to be bums or thugs in the street or drug dealers, then, you know, children follow by example. Okay, they watch what you do, and they get into that stage of admiration. I want to be just like my dad. It doesn't matter that dad's a bank robber. It doesn't matter that dad's selling drugs. It doesn't matter if dad is a violent abuser. They want to be like dad. All right. Now, take for instance a plant. If you water that plant daily, you groom it, water it and take away the weeds, etc., your end result will be a full-grown, luxurious plant. The same goes for a child. You love that child, you educate him or her, teach and instill proper moral values as well as love and respect for themselves. First of all, they have to love and respect themselves, just as we as adults do, as well as others, and prepare them for successes as well as failure. We all try to strive to teach our kids to be successes, but sometimes, you know, the ball doesn't fall in your court. All right, what do you do when you fail? You know, you have to have a backup plan. You teach them that everything you do in life you can't be successful at. You know, I was successful as a martial artist. You know, I got my 10th degree black belt in martial arts, but as an actor, you know, I was on my way, and then, you know, I did something wrong and I paid the price defending myself. You know, to me, that's the biggest failure of my life, but I learned to bounce back from it. And if possible, have my kids get into that field and maybe be better than I could have been in it. You know? So, the end result will be a well-adjusted, bright, intelligent, and well-grounded adult ready to take on the adversities of life head on without fear or reservations. This is our job as parents. And this concludes part 4. Stay tuned for part 5.